we're getting ready for the men's 200-meter event. Michael Jonhson, of course, is the favorite in this one. 6 gold medals in world championships, and he talked about his competition this afternoon.
I'm looking forward to the race. I'm certainly looking forward to running against Marsh and Little, and you know, I think that will be a good race, and we'll see each other again down the road. So this will be the first one for the year, and I think that we all are you know, have a certain respect for the other, and you know, when you're going to face that person, you've got to be ready. So it should be exciting.
And the lane assignments for the men's 200-meter. Lane 1 will have Neil De Silva. Floyd Hurd of the United States in lane 2. Kevin Little, heard Michael talk about him. Jonhson runs in lane 4. Adenikin from Nigeria in lane 5. There's Mike Marsh, the 92 silver medalist, in lane 6. Osagi Bari and Watkins complete the field.
And there is Michael Jonhson in the yellow of Nike. Was disappointed back in 92, but has decided that in 96 he will not make that same mistakes that were made back in 1992. Preparing well, was the double world champion last year in Stuttgart, winning the 200 and the 400 meters.
Little with an outstanding run at last year's outdoor track and field championships in the United States, making the world championship team, and beating in the process in that 200 meters Michael Marsh, who will in this race start out in lane 6, third from the left of the screen. At the U.S. Championships, Mike Marsh, who won the U.S. Championships at the 100 meters, had to contend with lane 1 and didn't make the U.S. team in that event. Went to Gothenburg as the sole U.S. finalist in the 100 meters, finished 5th, but called that a breakthrough for himself because he made a major championship 100-meter final. That gives him confidence not only for that event, but the 200 meters as well. Marsh, the 1972 Olympic champion.
Well, I'll have to say that, as Vern said, Michael Jonhson is a favorite, but in order for Marsh to beat him, he has got to be in control of the race coming off of the turn.
False start.
Looked like De Silva stood up early. Might not have been able to hear the starting commands. Usually an athlete should raise their hand to signify that they're having trouble hearing.
Because in that situation, it takes a little bit of pressure off of them. If you can raise your hand and stand up, that means you will not be given a false start. Right. Now De Silva has to sit in the blocks and wait. And as we were talking a minute ago about Marsh having to be off the turn first, that is because every once in a while, and most times, in fact, when you come off the turn and you see someone in front of you, you try to press. And when you press, you tighten up, and that is one thing you do not want to do in the 200 meters. As you see the statistics of Michael Jonhson, his career highlights.
Just incredible over the last few seasons, and obviously I would have to say that the 400 meters an easier event for him, something that he has dominated. The 200 meters, because it's shorter, because it has certain technical aspects, especially transition from the first 100 to the second, perhaps more vulnerable, although he's hardly looked vulnerable in his recent world championship victories at 200 meters.
Mike Marsh in lane 6, and let's give him his due and make sure he was the gold medalist and not the silver, as I said.
92 games, running 100th off his American record.
Good start.
Marsh out very quickly, but Jonhson following him.
Here comes Jonhson as the crowd stands in anticipation. Marsh and Jonhson. Marsh with a slight lead. Here comes Michael Jonhson and Mike Marsh. It'll be close, and it's Jonhson.
19.84, outstanding running, and it's legal win, the fastest in the world this year. And I'll tell you, excellent race for both of them, because for Michael Jonhson to maintain his composure, to respond to Michael Marsh, to hold his form, that's outstanding. For Michael Marsh, you could tell he was not fresh for the 200 meters. His form was a little shaky. He broke down both in the transition from the 100 to the 200, and he tried to strain towards the end. But great runs for both of them. When you think of it, Michael Jonhson only 500th off his all-time personal best, and again, it's only May.
I'll tell you one thing. We said in the early, I said, if Michael Marsh wants to beat Michael Jonhson, he needs to be ahead off of the turn. Now, here is a good angle to see where you are. You see Michael Marsh is out very well. He beat Michael Jonhson, but only by a nose. At this point, what every athlete in the 200 meters wants to do is relax and just keep everything going at that point. You see Michael Jonhson moving a little bit ahead at this point, perhaps Michael Marsh losing a little bit of his form, and that's a big problem. When you start leaning forward a little bit, you start losing form, your arms aren't going in the right position, that's when you're losing speed. Michael Marsh eats up the athlete in his outside lane. Obviously the race between the two Michaels in the middle of the track. Michael Jonhson comes off the turn very well. Michael Marsh leaning a little bit forward right there. Michael Jonhson always with the upright running forward. See how Michael Marsh's arms are flailing right here. Michael Jonhson stays well within his form, and he gets the win. A very important win, I might add.
Looking at it again, look, third from the left of the screen. That's Michael Marsh. Fourth from the right is Michael Jonhson. I think you could say that Michael Marsh won the race to the 100 meters, but watch the transition. That's the tough part when they come into the straightaway, a little off balance, while Michael Jonhson is totally in control. Remember, he's a 400-meter runner. He's not going to tire at the end. Michael Marsh, the 100-meter runner stepping up, seemed to struggle as they came to the line.
Craig Sagers with Michael Jonhson. Craig?
Well, Michael, obviously Marsh had the early lead. Did you feel pressed? Did you feel under the pressure, maybe vulnerable in this race?
I felt pretty good. I saw Marsh out there in the beginning, and he was running a good race, and I felt like I had the race under control the whole time.
You really did? You didn't feel like you had to run him down?
I didn't feel like I had to run him down. We came out of the curve about even, and I usually get a better turn than that, so I'm going to have to work on that a little bit. But I think that this was a good showing today, and hopefully this won't be my last time in the stadium.
What's your assessment of the track?
It's a great track. This is an awesome track. Felt really fast. Gave a lot back, got enough bounce, but not too much, hard enough, perfect track.
As you build up your strength over the years, what is your training schedule going to be as you try to double in the 2 and the 4 in the Olympic Games? What is your schedule from here throughout the summer?
Well, I've got 2 more races prior to the trials, and of course the trials back here, and then I'll probably run 4 or 5 more races in Europe, actually 3 or 4 before the Games.
Undefeated, 19 finals in this race. You expect that winning streak in both events to go all through the summer, don't you?
I do.
Good job.